Hello and welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
This is a new
everybody.
podcast.
It might have been like demon possessed. It was a fairly large, mutated looking chicken.
We were born in the north, but we grew up in the south.
We learned all of our words from Pennsylvania.
And people are, that's toboggan. That little toboggan
Not
there.
a toboggan. Toboggan is a sled. Okay.
0.3 inches, baby.
Dude, I can't take it.
Do you think you have phases in life?
What do you mean by phases?
Just you're interested in one thing for a period, and then you stop liking that thing, or you just get bored of it. What are you laughing about?
Yes, I definitely have phases.
What would you say is your latest phase? Because I can tell you what mine is.
The thing is, you know Rhett and Link, Rhett's Layers?
Yeah.
I view my interests very similarly to his.
I think a lot of people do.
It's like it's inside of me, and it's interesting, and I want it. I want to do it, but if I don't have much support or people encouraging me to do it, or I don't have like an intense emotion to do it, then I kind of suppress it. But if at any time I can pull it out, just like Rhett says, I can pull it out anytime. Just say the words and I'll pull it out, you know?
I just brought it up because, you know, in high school I played the guitar, and I was really into that. Hadn't picked up a guitar in forever. Picked up a guitar, just started feeling it again.
So it's not a phase, it's layers.
I guess
It's
layers that
you don't lose your interest, you just kind of forget about it.
I forgot about and had just life, and then I really wanted to get back into playing the guitar.
Why don't you?
I probably
just play
will.
it.
I probably will.
You were a bit better than me. You took lessons and whatnot.
I'm a bit better than you.
Just a
I'm a
little.
lot better than you.
Just a little.
I know what chords are. I know how to play tabs.
I know what a chord is. Don't know what a tab
do all
is.
this stuff.
I am one of those classical guitarists that people might say play by ear.
I feel like your guitar definition is that meme I shared on Instagram like a week ago.
This was in perfect tune when they handed it to me.
It's
Family Guy.
Yeah, it's Peter Griffin. Just to give people context, he's on stage and he plays the guitar and it's completely good. He starts tuning it. He's tuning it for about like 20 seconds. Then he plays it and it's so out of tune. And then he just like, this was in perfect tune when someone handed it to me.
When they handed it to me. Yeah. Yeah, those memes are funny. Oh, I sent you a meme this morning.
I did, yeah.
Did you like it?
No, that's not a meme. You know what it is?
That's a TikTok.
Yeah, it's a TikTok.
I understand. It was perfect.
It was
literally perfect.
Say I'm a fan of TikTok in general, but there is some funny TikToks.
Yeah, that one, this is the best thing I've seen all year. I'm going to keep it low in case YouTube notices this sound, but... It's these three little kittens with their paws up in the air and they're on their backs just still. And they're just looking up into the sky.
Do you remember our dog Cessna used to do that a lot?
Yeah, but I've never seen a cat do that. And there's three of them just sitting there like meditating. And they just found this awesome music that's pitched high. And it's, I don't know, it just says they're connecting to their home planet. And it's funny to me.
Can we announce something that's related to that we had this conversation
earlier?
Yeah,
you can talk about it, and then I'll give my gripes.
Okay. I mean, we're not doing it for any gripes. Can I say why we're doing it?
Yeah, go ahead. Just throw it out there.
Okay, so we're starting to share the podcast clips. On TikTok. And there's a lot of people that do have clips on TikTok.
Did you have to put your personal information to get on there?
It's off your email, so you just log in with your email.
But that's all they needed?
I think maybe you need an age. You just need your age.
All right.
But that's it. But we're putting clips on TikTok. And TikTok, without any effort, we have almost 400 views
Yeah.
on like 2 videos.
There's 2 videos. Yeah, I can't.
With
I
zero
doubt-
effort.
I
Zero
doubt
effort.
though that TikTok converts into hardcore fans.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
we'll
the
see.
thing about YouTube, man. YouTube is like, if someone subscribes to you, they're ready to get in. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like the only platform out there that's like fully committed to your content, because you can watch the content easy without ever subscribing. So if you subscribe, you're choosing. I'm subscribing because I know they care about subscribing, and I want to see their content when it
Yeah.
comes out with new stuff. I want it to be on the top of my list.
YouTube is like that, though. Subscribe is a lot more meaningful, and it's harder to get more subscribers.
Some people say 1 subscriber on YouTube is worth like 10 followers on Instagram.
Probably.
It's something similar to that, because Instagram, it's like, it's nothing to follow people. You know what I mean? It doesn't take any effort. It's like kind of, I guess the way the platform's set up, it just kind of people expect it, and it's not a big deal. When you subscribe, you're kind of going out of your way, and you're making an effort to do it, and almost. You know?
You're saying you were talking about TikTok. You've never been on the app at all.
No.
So you
I've only
know?
seen the converts TikToks on Facebook and Instagram.
I heard someone say something really funny the other day. It just made me laugh. I was walking into the break room at work, and this old guy was talking about TikTok. Old guy who like doesn't know anything about technology, and he's like, I don't know anything about TikToks, but I just get recommended for these videos from TikTok all the time on my Facebook, and it's just a bunch of little girls being whores.
Oh gosh.
And I just started busting out laughing. I'm like, dude,
That's true. That's true.
I don't disagree with him, but
And also a bunch of like teenage guys being douchebags.
yeah,
Predominantly it's that way,
yeah,
which is
I would
sad.
agree.
Okay, my biggest gripes with TikTok is pretty much everything. It's not an American company. It's Chinese company, and so we don't know the issues. It could be banned in the next few months. They suspended it, but they didn't cancel it.
Yeah.
As far as the possible ban on TikTok in the U.S. It wasn't that I was like really pro ban TikTok, but I didn't dislike it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There is a level of national security issues with it, but I guess I'm okay with it if people are watching our stuff, and we don't have to have our personal like names and information out there on it, and it's just under WiseWorks name, then I guess we're safe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really like supporting it, but whatever.
TikTok is very similar to, and it's not similar. I don't know why I said that. It's very similar. It's not similar. Growing up, we had Vine, and that was funny. I enjoyed getting on Vine and watching.
Vine was funny.
Watching some Vines. Dude, there were some good Vines.
But the problem with Vine is that it converted into YouTubers, and they're the worst YouTubers out there now.
Not a lot. There were so many Viners that just died after Vine.
I know, but I'm
And
saying
that are
the
popping
worst
up now.
YouTubers most likely were Viners.
No, there's so many TikTokers now that were Viners really popular. Then they died for so many years, and now they're popping back up on TikTok because they can just like post their old videos and get some views, and then
And it's a
start posting new
similar
stuff.
idea.
Yeah, I've seen so many people that I'm like, they're from Vine. I haven't seen them in years.
You know what blows my mind? King Bash. You know him?
Yeah,
He
popular.
he was a Viner originally, and he was one of the guys who were doing the crazy edits with Vine and doing the crazy stuff. They were making like 4 Vines a day, and they would go viral so quick. It's like he learned the formula, and then he got on YouTube, and now he's like in films.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
He's in a lot of movies.
He's in a lot of movies.
And that just converted from Vine.
Music videos, just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's all over the place. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff even with Key and Peele.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's in all over. Oh, he's in all kinds
Key
of
and
stuff.
Peele, I mean, they kind of took it. They were from YouTube.
Yeah,
It's not
they're from
Bump.
Comedy Central.
Oh, but
Yeah, they got a show on Comedy Central. I don't think they were originally YouTubers.
They
Not
weren't?
Camp. No, Comedy Central.
Even like, I'm talking about like back in the day. What was it? The Good Mythical Show.
Yeah, when they came on their show.
And they were
Link's
like
Good
doing
Mythical Show.
the
Yeah,
little
that was-
sketch.
The thing is, it was meant for YouTube, but it was through Comedy Central.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like their channel, I don't think. It was like they had a show, kind of like what, because the thing is, a lot of people, I mean, we liked Key and Peele growing up, but
Yeah.
when you think about it, they were following a formula, although they're very funny, and they did make very funny stuff, they were following a formula that Dave Chappelle made years before them. Like these short, funny videos that are insane, and they put their own spin on it, but it was already created a formula from Dave Chappelle.
I mean, if you were to really get into it, that's a lot of YouTubers,
Yeah,
Viners,
and
just
us.
people commenting. I mean, copying a formula that someone else has done.
I'm not saying they're wrong for it. I'm just saying it. Well, Comedy Central did the Dave Chappelle show, and then they came and did Key and Peele, and so it was kind of like, you know, they didn't have Dave Chappelle for years, and so they wanted to replace him with another funny comedian or a duo, because Dave Chappelle kind of had what was Eddie Murphy's brother's name?
Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy's brother.
Annie Murphy?
No. Gosh. It's not Steven.
I don't know who you're talking about. I've
Yeah,
never
but he
heard of
was-
this person.
Yeah, he was a comedian, but he just wasn't as well known.
Oh,
Never.
heard of this person.
I can't remember his name. People are probably, if they know anything about this world, they know it. But Eddie Murphy's brother. Gosh, I'm gonna die until I figure it out.
Okay, figured out. I had a dream the other night after we recorded the last episode of the Midnight Special.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't listened to it yet, it's already out. It's the one with Josh Goforth,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be after the next.
Charlie Murphy.
Oh,
Charlie Murphy.
it's gonna.
He
It was a
died.
couple weeks ago. Josh Goforth one, but right after we recorded, because we recorded it pretty late, I went home. I basically went to sleep right after we recorded it because it was pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream because we primarily talked about Maranatha.
Yeah.
Because of our podcast, people started listening to the podcast, and we romanticized Maranatha. People started coming to Maranatha because of our podcast, and it got big
Mm-hmm.
as a camp.
Yeah.
Is that weird to think of?
Yeah.
You think that ever could happen if we got big? After the
I don't
1,000
think we want that to
subscribers
happen.
we get,
We're never gonna release the address for Camp Maranatha.
they can find it. All
They
have to
can
do is
find it,
Google
but you have to go in. You have to look for it. If you just type in Maranatha, it's not going to come up. I think I said the actual name one time on this podcast. Don't say it.
Why? You don't want people to go?
No, because the thing is, in the future, if this podcast gets big, it won't be people that want to go to camp and experience camp. It'll be people that are like trying to figure out if we're there or not.
We probably won't be.
I'm not trying to be pretentious. I'm genuinely trying to keep it safe.
Yeah.
It's my safe place in this world. I want to have it.
Okay, I think people could find it if they dug deep enough.
Okay, they're going to have to dig, but that's an interesting idea. I don't think people, if this podcast was to be a big deal and people wanted to come, I don't think they'd want to be there for the reasons camp is had.
Yeah.
And
It's just
so-
weird that I was like dreaming like that. That's what's weird. I've been having weird dreams.
Well, we're doing
Yeah.
this podcast all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's things that cause you to, well, for sure there's things that cause you to start thinking about in a different way, but we've just been talking about Maranatha a lot because of the Goforths and Josh and us, and it plays a big part in our childhood, and we tend to talk
Yeah.
about that with stories.
It almost seems like at this point in my life, because I wouldn't say I'm old,
Yeah.
but it seems like been so long since I've gone to Maranatha at least.
Mm-hmm.
2012 was the last time I went.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems like a different life in a way. Just like fairy tales from a past life I had.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
that
it might
weird?
be.
Almost like
How
how
we can get it. I mean,
how in the Chronicles of Narnia books, how they talk about how the four kids, the main kids that you
Mhm.
you think of when you hear Chronicles of Narnia, like Lucy, Edmund, Peter, and Susan.
Yeah.
After like so many years, how Susan thought they were only stories and games they would play.
Yeah.
She didn't really think that they went to Narnia. She thought it was a made-up place.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like that. Is that
Yeah,
weird?
like Susan forgot and didn't believe in Narnia anymore.
Yeah.
Even though she had lived a whole life.
I don't mean I've forgotten
We can get into some
Maranatha,
deep
but
theological symbolism if we stay on the topic of Narnia.
but I'm just saying, it almost feels like that, and not that I've forgotten and said Maranatha's not a real place because we went there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it feels like that to me.
I think our memory works. I mean, you talked about trends. I think your memory works, and everyone's memory works differently.
Yeah.
Mine tends to format things that aren't important, and by formatting I mean erasing.
Yeah. Or maybe important things you just erase.
Some important things. But it's just like if it doesn't seem useful to me without me even realizing it, my brain just turns it off. But I can have really strong memories about some things that surprises me I do. You know, like we talked about with Josh, him pushing that kid off the rock. I remember I wasn't on the rock. I remember I was there, and I remember I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Now, granted, memories can be different. Maybe I did see it, and I've created a different memory.
Or the story of you breaking the rock in his pocket.
Yeah. The
I
thing
remember
is,
that.
well, that's easy because it triggered an emotional response, and so you tend to remember those better.
Okay.
But even just the observing someone else's moment, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember specific things about it. But, you know, our memory creates interesting things, both in what is reality and what actually didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's been proven that our memory doesn't. We're every time we revisit a memory, we're changing it.
That's true. Yeah.
And so a lot of times memories aren't anyway what they think. It's like when you quote a movie. You'll quote a movie for years and be like, I know the quotes, and then you rewatch and you're like, wait, I'm really off. Like I don't know the
Nacho
exact
Libre
quote.
recently.
Yeah, I have done it with Nacho Libre.
I haven't seen the movie in years either. I probably would be the same. No, because I remember stuff more.
No, repetition helps.
Yeah.
It helps stick there longer. But yeah, if you just think you know something, you might want to check on it because sometimes you don't actually know or remember. But that's interesting. I mean, what you said. I mean, that's an interesting idea. I mean, what do you think C.S. Lewis was getting at when he was saying that these kids lived a full life to be adults and they were kings and queens in Narnia? And then Susan, she didn't believe as she went back into the real world, and after a number of years, she just didn't believe anymore. Like, she thought it was just kids playing games. But how would you... What was C.S. Lewis getting at? Because we know there's a lot of symbolic things as far as Christianity and the Bible and Narnia, but what was that?
Maybe he was just saying, growing up, you kind of as a kid, you're influenced by other people, and you have these stories or you have experiences as kids, and then you grow up and you start getting to work. You work for a living, you get into adult things, and you kind of put off what you remember as a kid and just let it go and just say it was more of a memory and a good time you had rather than a real life event or something that you were so strong in thinking about and believing in.
You know, that's interesting. I mean, if you want to get into biblical theology with it, there's the aspect of, you know, in the Bible it talks about coming to God. He wants you to come to him as like a child, you know? Mm-hmm. And so when you're a child, you're more pure, and you don't have all of your own ideas swarming around in your head. You don't think you know everything about life. And so you come to God and you're able to have the perspective that causes you to come to him in the most pure way, you know? And that's what he's saying. It's not that adults can't come to God, but he's saying you got to have the mindset of like a child, because in his eyes, we are like children. Yeah. So what C.S. Lewis is probably getting at is like, it was reality, because Aslan in the world, like the fact that Narnia exists, the fact that Narnia is like the Narnia's version of Messiah, you know, and the creator. But Susan chose to forget it. And it was when she became an adult, but it was very real to her when she was young. So maybe it's tackling that perspective of like, you have to choose to not rely on your own knowledge all the time, or rely on what you think when you become older and you start building these ideas and perspectives, and then you just treat everything that you believed at one time as just childhood and child foolishness.
Yeah, that's probably it. I don't know about C.S. Lewis, but I know especially his friend j.r.r. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm. j.r.r. Tolkien.
j.r.r. Tolkien.
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 Yeah.
I'm just going to say Tolkien.
Tolkien.
He had some friends that he grew up with, and he would have adventures and things like that,
mm-hmm.
similar to what we've talked about.
Yeah.
But once he went to school and got into college, then he started getting into like languages and creating languages and things like that.
Yeah. That's what led him down the path of creating Middle Earth.
And he created languages, and he said he can't just have a language for a language, because what is that? You have to have a backstory to the language. That's what makes it so romantic, and like the words, you can say one
Fantastical.
word. Like there's a great movie out there, Tolkien,
mm-hmm.
that came out a couple years ago. A lot of people didn't like it. I love that movie.
It didn't come out a couple of years ago. I think it came out last year, 2019.
2019 or 2018.
I think it was 2019.
Years. But in it, he had this word. He would say cellar-door.
Say it again?
Cellar-door. Like cellar door. Like a cellar and a door.
Cellar-door.
But he said just the word itself, it sounds cool, but if there's a backstory behind it to a meaning of what it means, it has so much more to it, because it has a meaning and there's a story behind it and all this stuff. And so he took kind of these fairy tales or things he would play with his friends when they were younger, and added it to these stories and these languages to create this world of Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth.
And it was based on languages that he was coming up with. He put meaning behind words.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I was just watching a Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking about how language kind of formed, and now obviously he's going to come at it from the humanistic side of things, where he's going to say like evolution and people evolve from animals and all that. But the idea still remains. It's interesting. The idea of language, how it's like we're making sounds with our mouth. Right now, a podcast is literally us making sounds with our mouth and you interpreting it. You interpret it in
sounds
a way
with our mouths, but also our eyes and our
body language. Yeah.
Yeah, our nose and
and our shoulders.
our good shoulder.
And our hips, if you could see them. But he was just saying that like we say like words are bad, or we say that that certain things, like you got to be cautious what you say sometimes. And that's
should you give some a couple examples?
No. I'm just saying like, but that's what humans have chosen to set up as a standard. Yeah. And so we follow that. But it just comes down to, it's just
a
sounds. And we've telepathically learned what sounds mean, and so I'm interpreting what's going on in your brain based on sounds you're saying to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because like if you're especially cussing someone out.
But I'm getting to that. Well, yeah, if you're cussing, so finish what you were going to say. Sorry.
It's just your interpretation in your mind. So I'm cussing, you're cussing me out.
You know that I'm angry.
I'm interpreting what's in your mind and saying that you do not like me at this moment.
Yeah.
Or for some reason.
Or you've caused anger in some way.
And that gets deep too, because then there's like sarcasm to what degree.
We were talking about that last night.
What degree of anger are you spitting at me? I can interpret that because of your body language too, because of the way you're saying this noise that's coming out of your mouth. It can be the exact same noise, but one way in this way, or that way. I
Yeah.
know in the military a lot, and I've heard military guys talk about this. I'm going to say the word because just so give people context.
Okay.
The word, they use
Gosh.
that. No, they use that.
Right. Should I bleep that? Because we're not trying to have cussing on this show.
Okay, I'll just say the F word then.
Okay, the F word. All right,
You
I
can bleep
bleeped it.
You can.
Gosh. Okay, Joshua's not throwing that word around.
No, I'm just saying it because I've heard military guys say they use that word when you get in the military so much, and they use it in so many different contexts that.
And many times it's like endearment, like you're saying it with your buddies, even though it's a harsh word that wasn't originally meant for endearment.
Yeah, they think it's so funny.
It's like
and
it's like sailor talk.
Well, not even that, because when you say sailor talk, you're like, oh, I'm cussing like a sailor.
Yeah.
And so you mean you're cussing, but when it's kind of like a rite of passage when you get in the military. I don't know. I've just heard guys
and they're
talk
able
about
to cuss at you, and you feel good about it.
Slip that word into a sentence and make it so romantic, as in almost it's a funny word, and they just use it in a romantic type way.
Well, it's just thrown in there.
Yeah.
So much. It's like instead of taking a pause,
you have
or
to
saying,
be creative in how you can throw it in there.
Yeah, but it opens up language in an interesting way. I think if you choose not to use language like that, mostly because there's still a very large population of people that find it offensive, and you don't want to infringe on other people unnecessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but if you can find words that doesn't necessarily have to be an offensive word, but yeah, language becomes artistic. It becomes creative. You know, I mean, the fact that we've put meaning to words in so many different languages, and they're just sounds that come out of our mouth.
Yeah.
We as
so
humans
poetic
are,
too.
yeah, we as humans are so incredibly creative. And it gets down to, I mean, the fact that we can look at, going back to Narnia or Lord of the Rings, any of these stories, even films, stories in general, we love like abstract art or symbolic art or telling stories in an artistic way that people have to interpret.
Or even just like stand-up. You love just listening to a stand-up. All they're doing is most of the time standing on stage or sitting down.
Yeah, but it's just using communication to entertain or be creative with, for people to kind of like decode, you know? And we've been decoding. Do you think it just comes down to humans trying to decode other humans and the rest of the world? And maybe God, like through the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, or I mean any ancient writings, people we're just trying to decode what we don't know.
Most languages are very, now I wouldn't say all languages are similar, but if you go down the path of languages, there's a lot of languages that are very similar to each other.
Yeah.
In a way of, like, I was listening to a podcast, they were talking about this the other day, where Italian is pretty similar to like Spanish. It's not the same, but it's similar in
because it's Latin based.
Yes.
And it got created in a similar fashion.
Yeah, so most languages, they kind of derive from something. I mean, it kind of weaves through, and it's different, but it kind of so similar, and it's kind of a morphed version of a different language in a way.
We're literally, and language changes. So even the way, okay, so right
like
now,
throwing shade, what does that mean?
Throwing shade means you're bashing on somebody.
Anybody over 50 probably doesn't know what that means.
You probably are passive aggressively or a little bit directly, like putting down someone or pointing out their flaws to make them seem less. 50 years ago, no one knew what throwing shade meant.
Or like yeet.
Or yeet.
What is yeet?
Something you do when you're excited and you're about to make a movement. Yeet. Yeet. But I'm just saying, there's language changes so fast. So like what you're just saying, even today, do you realize how much we are changing language, our generation?
Yeah.
With every week, there's a new word or phrase or terminology that becomes offensive. Like people are starting to say the word homeless is offensive.
What?
They want people to call them unhoused.
Okay.
I'm just saying, but I'm not saying we don't need to
get.
get political, and we don't need to say this. Yes, it's true. I'm just saying.
That makes me laugh so hard.
I'm just saying that kind of stuff is changing language faster than anything, because it's going to be a generation of people that are just like, yes, I won't use that language. And so the next generation won't hear that. You know?
A boogie?
And all of a sudden, we're going to have a whole generation of people that speak differently than us.
Yeah.
Have you listened to those old tapes, the way people used to talk?
Yeah. Old English?
No, not Old English, like Old American, like from the friggin' 60s or the 40s, or even, I don't know, just old tapes. Like you hear the president on the United States and be like,
do you think we're evolving
people of America
with that, or just like devolving?
No, I think it's an accent. I'm just bringing this up because I think it's funny. But I'm just like, the president would get on TV and be like, people of America, the the space station has just launched a rocket into space. And we wanted to inform you that it has exploded 60,000 feet from the Earth's surface. You know, it's like, that's the way people used to talk, man, when they get on TV and whatnot. And we talk so different.
Yeah.
But it's not that we...
Throwing a little yeet there.
And yeet.
Would you imagine that?
The spaceship went yeet and blew up. 3 men are dead. Good Bible-believing Americans from the middle of the country have blown, and
they were throwing some shade.
We want to give our condolences to their families. They were patriots, and
they were throwing some shade.
Under no circumstances should anyone throw any shade towards these individuals or their families.
Could you imagine if Trump said that now?
Throwing shade.
Oh, gosh.
Old people shouldn't use language like that. But that's what we're saying, though.
Yeah.
There cannot be... I really don't think... We're changing language so fast. Not only with all the weird new words we're using to describe things, but... the fact that we're limiting what people can say more than ever, maybe.
I know you didn't want to talk about this unless we had someone else on.
What?
But I'm going to bring it up because we had this conversation.
Okay.
And this goes along with language that we were talking about.
Or people wouldn't say okay, they would say,
my roommate.
All right.
our friend here in Virginia Beach, my roommate.
Yeah.
He speaks fluent Japanese or I don't even know what
Japanese. Yeah.
Japanese. Yeah. Yeah.
Japanese.
But I was asking him. I
made that mistake with another guy who was from Brazil, and I accidentally said he spoke Brazilian. He is Brazilian. He speaks Portuguese.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
Most people, especially when they can speak different languages, multiple languages, they get a different personality for each language that they speak. Like I speak
differently. Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak any different languages, but like my roommate, he speaks English, and he has this way of speaking and how he kind of gives people information through gestures or through, and this is a big thing, sarcasm. He's very sarcastic, but yet in Japanese, he can't be sarcastic in the way he is when he speaks English because they can't understand that sarcasm. It doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's weird. We had a long conversation last night about that with him. You're talking about Daniel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure you didn't have another friend.
I said my roommate.
Sorry, I missed roommate? That. Certain times my attention span drops off. We talked about it for a while, and we were asking that we've mentioned why animes are so expressive, and he said like they have a completely different sense of humor in Japan. So, like he stopped being sarcastic.
Yeah, and he said
because
he adapted
it doesn't
different
register. Different kind of humor.
Yeah,
because he's a funny guy. Like he wants to make people laugh and smile, but he noticed really early on that sarcasm didn't translate and it wasn't funny in Japanese.
Yeah.
And then he gave an illustration about how comedians in Japan are just, it's very physical. Like, it's just them acting silly and acting a fool in a physical way. It's not what they're saying, really, you know?
Mhm.
And that's their comedy. So that's why animes, like, it's meant to be funny, and we don't even understand it. Like, when a character freaks out over something, like, because they're hungry, like I saw on Attack on Titans recently, and it was so unnecessary. She just was trying to take food from someone so she could eat it because she's hungry. But it was, like, just crazy. All the light flashing by her, like she's moving supersonic speed and lightning coming out of her eyes.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's literally just a difference in culture.
Or even cultural norms. I mean, things that we do here in America that they don't in other places.
Yeah, like sarcasm.
Yeah.
That's a very British thing. British people are the sarcastiest, the most sarcastic and wittiest dry humor people ever. Like, you watch The Office, the British Office.
Yeah. I've never
What do they
seen
call it? English?
I've never seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, man. They're not... they're kind of expressive, but most of the time it is... If you think the American Office is, like, pretty monotoned, except for maybe Dwight and a few, like Kelly, but is pretty monotoned humor, watch the UK Office.
I'm curious. I should probably watch it.
Yeah, they have a couple seasons on Netflix, I think, available here. But I'm just saying, like, British people are so different because they, like, their physical humor of, like, making people laugh by doing silly things is, like, non-existent. It's all language.
Yeah.
It's all verbal communication. It's so weird that we just make gestures. Well, body language makes more sense to me because you can pick it up and animals do it and everything. But the fact that we can just make sounds.
We can kind of bring this full circle back to what dictates something new coming in the culture. I mean, yeet, you know where that came from?
Yeah, a little video.
From Vine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and Vine hasn't been around for years, but we're still saying yeet.
Yeah, well, some people are.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Culture dictates what we're saying these days.
Who's culture, though? I'm culture. Your culture. This podcast is culture.
PC culture, probably. I don't know. The young people.
Young people. Are we young, or we're starting to get old?
We're starting to get old, dude. We're not coming up with new stuff.
Man,
we're not influencing anybody.
We're hitting the old. We should start just making our way to Texas like Joe Rogan, go into retirement.
Might as well go to Austin now.
Yeah, go into retirement.
Who's coming with us? But I think right now it's weird, politically and culturally, but I think right now it's just becomes trendy.
Yeah,
like something's funny, and so everyone wants to be funny, or incorporate a funny saying into their language, and then yeet happens.
Yeah, that is weird.
Someone of influence says something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
Something funny Trump has said.
Yeah. What? Like, what's the word? Okay. No one used. I never, my whole life, heard like people use on a regular basis the word deplorable until Hillary said it about Trump supporters.
For real?
And then all of a sudden, everyone's using the word deplorable.
I had not heard this.
I've never heard of the term deplorable of my memory. And I was like, well, you say that word and I know exactly what you mean, but I've never heard it used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, people start using
Define
that term.
Deplorable.
It pretty much, I think when it comes down to it, it just means like we consider you such a bad person, we don't want you in the country. Like,
okay.
That you caused such an offense that you shouldn't live here. I think that's pretty much what it's referencing. That's why, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Don't think I'm a fool. Okay, my case in point.
Yeah.
I've never heard it used. I heard it. I think I know what it means. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people are using it constantly to describe people they don't like or actions they don't like.
I mean, they always come up with weird things during an election.
I'm going to look up deplorable. So if I'm wrong, I don't go through this podcast thinking I'm right. And people who watch this know I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Define deplorable. Keep going.
I was going to scoot it from this topic and just go 180 degrees. What are you watching these days?
Hold on, let me give this. Okay. Let's see. Deserving strong condemnation. Okay. Okay. So disgraceful, shameful. Yeah. Maybe not the part about the country. I don't know. I think I picked that up because politicians were saying it. Just like disgraceful.
Yeah.
You shouldn't say it. What am I watching?
Yeah.
NCIS. The good one. Not the LA version.
No, the LA version's good.
Sucks.
No, I like it.
Sucks.
I like it.
No.
Dude, it's got LL Cool J.
I don't care. I like
LL Cool
Tony,
J.
Ziva,
Dude, anybody
Abby,
who's got the name
McGee,
LL
Gibbs.
in their name. It's LL and then a cool and a J.
Anyone with anyone with two J's in their name is cool. J.r.r. Tolkien.
LL.
Oh, I said two J's. That's only one J. No, anyone with two R's in their name is cool.
Why was that so hard?
I don't know. I was thinking of
That's what you're watching these days, though? Hey,
Martin.
you watching any movies? The other night we watched The Highwayman.
Yeah, that was
on
pretty
Netflix.
crazy.
I don't know the actors in it, so I'm not gonna say. I was
the dude who plays
Haymitch
Haymitch on Hunger Games and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
The guy who played on Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come or whatever.
It's basically two old guys being bounty hunters trying to catch.
No, they're not bounty
from
hunters. They're Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers. Okay, and they're trying to catch
they're
Bonnie
officers that are not held under judicial law for their actions that much, and Texas used to hire them to deal with really problem situations.
Like Bonnie
and Clyde. Yeah, it was a great movie. It was cool.
But you guys, Kenzie brought this up. It's hard for her to watch a movie because you guys watch TV shows so much.
Yes.
That you just get bored of like a 2-hour movie. I love sitting down for a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I think people just need breaks. I think they just need the idea of, I can stop in 45 minutes if I want to. You know,
that idea.
They like the idea, even though they're not gonna. Most likely, they're gonna keep going.
Have you seen any good movies that you're wanting to watch soon or out now though?
Not ones I want to watch.
I want theaters to come back.
You know what I'm upset about? The new Batman is not gonna be until the end of next year.
Batman.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for that? The new Batman's gonna be so cool.
I've seen a lot of.
I'm so excited about that one.
I don't know the guy who plays Batman though.
It's gonna be good.
All I can think of is like a lifeless vampire. That's all I can think of.
You need to watch more stuff. He's on the move, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's out doing all kinds of work
Tenet.
right now. No, but I've seen 3 trailers advertised to me on YouTube this week with him in it, not including Batman next year. Didn't he just have coronavirus?
I don't know.
I think he had coronavirus or he was really sick. Don't let this be a rumor. I'm just saying, I think he had coronavirus or he just got really sick and they had to stop.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that.
Halt production on Batman for a little bit, but they started back up. So he's okay. He's A-okay.
Yeah.
It was a close one. We didn't want to miss old Edward.
Edward Cullen's.
The vampire that everybody loved and all guys hated.
Growing up, that's a curse. We always get, because we had our hair nice, we would get called.
Yeah, we were the vampires. I wanted to be the cool tan, friggin' jacked werewolves, you know? That's why I was working out all the time.
Yeah, no,
I wanted to be on Team
Pudge,
Jacob.
Right?
No, not that much.
No, man. 2 people, and this is, now that I think about it, it's not that big of a deal, but 2 people that I always got called all the time because of our hair.
Who?
Edward Cullens, and Justin Bieber. That was kind of like
that's you.
a bad thing in our
I
generation.
never got called Justin Bieber.
You know how many people
You got some Justin Bieber hair right now.
Well, no, because he doesn't have hair like this anymore.
When he was a little boy.
Little boy son. Little boy, my guy.
My guy. We talked about Post Malone one time on this podcast.
One time.
He's a good guy.
My guy, yeah.
I want to see him on more podcasts. I had a great time watching him on Joe Rogan. That was a great time.
It was, but it was so long. I didn't get to finish it. Never finished it.
But did I listen to one of the longest, most recent Joe Rogan podcasts? No, I think it's the longest ever.
Yeah, we finished it.
With Duncan Trussell, who's been on so many.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have over 100 episodes with just Duncan Trussell and Joe.
For real?
Yeah. I mean, he's been around since the beginning, before Joe started the podcast. And he's a very good friend. They lived together for a little while. But man, if you like the beginning of this podcast, we were talking about language and whatnot, you'll love Duncan Trussell and Joe talk about stuff. Duncan Trussell's a Buddhist, so his ideas are crazy.
Right.
But he's got an interesting, fun perspective to just listen to for a while.
I know you recommended a Duncan Trussell episode to me, and I never watched. He was like 66 or something.
It's 666, episode 666. So Duncan Trussell was the perfect guy to have for that episode.
I need to watch that episode because I know it's been a while, and it came out like a couple years ago. But now I need to watch it because I watched the longest episode with him in it, but that was the only one.
Oh, you need to dive deep into Duncan Trussell. I think the deeper you go, the more you're fascinated. Yeah, he's a comedian, but he's also
see. I don't
pretty
follow.
much a comedian. That's what he
I
does
do
for a
listen to
job.
Joe Rogan, and I like listening to when there's comedians on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't follow in those circles. I don't follow the comedian realm.
I don't know why. It's like the past year, those circles have just fascinated me.
Yeah,
more
you're
than
always
ever.
constantly watching stand-up, talking about a new stand-up thing, or just a new my guy, a new guy you're watching you really like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just fascinating me. I think the life and the career of comedians has just got me interested for some reason, and so I'm just into it. Really, I'm sure it might be a phase, but I've been in it for a while.
It's a layer. Go back to the very beginning. It's a layer.
Yeah, it's a layer. It's a part of me that I enjoy and I want to explore. But
I have a friend that I actually worked with, or I went to school with, and then I worked with at WBTV.
Mm-hmm.
He started the same time as me. He was an editor with me. He was really into stand-up. He actually went to a couple places in Charlotte, North Carolina, and did some stand-up.
Like he did stand-up?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? Want to give him a shout-out?
You can give him a shout-out. I don't know if he's actively doing stand-up. No, he's not. I know he's not because I follow him. But his name is Jacob Boone.
Jacob Boone.
Jacob Boone. He hails from York, South Carolina.
He said he hails.
He hails from York, South Carolina. South Carolina.
York.
And drives
boys.
a tractor to work every day.
Tractor.
All the way to Charlotte.
Just rolling.
No, actually, I mean, he's still working at WBTV. I know that. He's full-time now. He was only part-time when I was there, but he got into full-time, and he's actually, I guess, really enjoying it. He was on air. People like him over there so much, they put him on air a couple times.
What was he doing on air? Reporting something?
No, they had a Saturday morning special where they were boiling some peanuts, and because he's real Southern, he came on and gave his 2 cents.
See, that's why I hate local broadcast.
Yeah.
They're just like, what's trendy? What's on YouTube?
Boiled peanuts.
Let's talk about boiled peanuts. And we're going to like sit in the studio and go like, hey, Jacob, what are you doing there? Are you boiling peanuts? Oh, how long does that normally take? You know, stupid stuff like that. It's like these anchors that are wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah, but you got to give
just
it to
like,
him.
Mr. Boone is boiling peanuts. Isn't his accent funny? That's the I
Yo,
hate
Who's the
local
audience,
broadcast.
though? Who's the audience that watches that?
Old people.
Yes. So they enjoy it. They enjoy sitting in the morning, having their Saturday coffee.
Our grandma does.
Yeah, having their 1 cup of coffee that they get.
Their 1 cup of coffee. Can't get too jittery today.
And then they have their eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
And they're just living their life like it's still like
I have eggs and bacon every morning. Am I old?
every morning.
And a big cup of coffee that's like equivalent of 2.5.
You gotta give it yourself though. That's the life. That's the life. If I could be an old person watching the news every morning.
No, watching YouTube, man. We're going to be old watching YouTube. We're going to be like, you guys have all your new programs, and I'm over here still on YouTube, and it's the best one. I mean, do you know that at this point, there's been 50 years of content being uploaded to this site, and it's got all the good stuff, all the good ones, all the good stuff.
That's a good like weekend morning for me. Just like
I'll never be
enjoying
able to
a good
finish
cup
all
of
the content
coffee
on this platform.
and some good a biscuit, dude. I love me a biscuit.
I like eggs. Oh, dude, have you ever freaking sunny side up one of those eggs? You know what I mean?
Mm.
And just cut the whites off. You eat the whites, but then you just take the yolk without popping it and just spoon it in your mouth, man. The whole thing. It's a burst of flavor, and it's a beautiful sensation. Anyone who likes sunny side up runny yolk eggs, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. Just pop a whole yolk. Oh, makes me happy.
Dude, that does make me happy. I love me a good biscuit and coffee in the morning when I don't have to go anywhere. I'm like, I'm just going to climb back in bed after this coffee.
You know, this fall is like not looking good for not doing anything and not having to be anywhere.
No, that's
it's
good.
too busy. No, it's too busy.
For you, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's pretty decent.
I got too much stuff on the schedule, man.
We're always busy though.
Started doing the friggin' calendar on Google Calendar, and between me and Kenzie's schedule is just never ending.
I say you should cut out some stuff. You know what you should cut out? Holidays. Just cut out the holidays.
Okay.
Holidays.
No holidays for me.
No holidays. No Christmas. No Thanksgiving.
No holidays for me.
Sounds
I'm
good.
asleep.
Sounds good.
I'm asleep on the holidays.
Oh, man, it's getting there. It's getting to the end of the year.
No, don't say that. We haven't even... Well, October started.
October has started by now.
We're on our way to Halloween. Then it'll be Black Friday.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Black Friday. I mean, I've made it known. I work
more than Thanksgiving.
Retail.
You know what happens before Black Friday? Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but man, do you know what?
You're not thankful.
Not thankful, but I also live in the Virginia, and I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving this year, probably.
Oh, yeah. I didn't celebrate it last year. You know what I did for Thanksgiving last year?
Are you guys going home for Thanksgiving?
I think so. We'll
Okay.
see. But you know what I did for Thanksgiving last year? I went with Daniel. We went and got McDonald's.
Daniel? You're gesturing him like he's right there outside the camera.
Daniel.
I know what you're gesturing to, but that's fine.
Your apartment's in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's your roommate. So, but me and him, we went to McDonald's. I spent $11 on a lot of a chunk of McDonald's food.
Yeah. McDonald's is the more expensive of the fast food.
Yeah, it was one of those that were open.
Why are we talking about McDonald's, man? We've gotten to the point of just talking about McDonald's.
I was having fun talking about Narnia and talking about deep stuff like that.
It was. We got pretty deep.
What do you think? Oh man, what do you think Aslan? I know it's obvious what Aslan represents, but try to explain Aslan also in the real world and not just in Narnia. Do you think? Because I think what C.S. Lewis was getting at is that there are multiple dimensions that God has created, and he goes in a different form. Like on this earth, he was Jewish. He was Jesus. If you believe in God as Jesus, maybe you don't. But if you believe in Jesus being the Son of God, then he presented himself as Jesus. C.S. Lewis also did. And so you think about, like, what did Aslan represent? Similar story, but he chose to be a lion, which matches what the Bible said a lot, and descriptive words about God, you know?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it...
Big cat.
I think it was just a story of different dimensions. I think that was just a fun way of describing
Oh, it was fun. I'm just...
we can promote someone who... He's a lot bigger than us. So we're not promoting him in that way. But...
we need you to promote us.
No, the guy who created the Door Within series...
Oh, Wayne Thomas Batson.
Wayne Thomas Batson, dude. He's a great writer.
Especially if you have kids.
Yeah, I think his normal job is like he's a teacher somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know what he's teaching.
Follow him on Facebook.
I do.
I do.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We both do.
But he's a great writer.
He's a good writer.
He's a great writer.
He's not super well known, but he's more well known than us. He sold quite a few books.
Yeah, he has this series called The Door Within. He also has a series called
Isle of Swords.
Isle of Swords. That's a good
and a number of
series.
other ones that he's come out with recently that I don't know.
He came out with another
'Cause
third book of that.
Isle of Swords.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you've not read.
Yeah, I mean that they're meant for
I've read
like
it.
young to mid teens.
Dude, but sometimes it's good. I mean, there's times to read for serious learning. Then there's times to just read for enjoyment. Sometimes it's good to pick up a good novel for teens and just read it.
You know, I got really into Isle of Swords.
Yeah,
For multiple reasons.
it's pirates.
But yeah, it's pirates, but then there were also younger characters, and then there was also the I don't know, in my young crouton teen years.
But
I was thinking
those
like
Door Within books. I like
hold on,
those.
Josh. I'm just saying like I got really into the female character in Isle of Swords.
I think I know why.
Because I was like, yeah, she's like a
redhead.
well, she's pirates.
Redhead.
She. I don't have a preference. I was way more into the fact that she's like a free young woman
Okay.
who's into piracy. We're trying to figure out what's going on with her backstory or whatever.
Yeah.
Or was it the dude? I
No,
can't remember.
it's the guy that was with him. It's basically like
the young fellow.
a pirate version of Born Identity.
No, it wasn't.
It was?
No.
Yes, it was, man.
No.
He showed up. He didn't know who he was. They were trying to figure out who he was as he's becoming a crew member. He gets liked by the crew. Come to find out, the guy he's been working with, spoiler alert, who he's been on his
Don't
ship,
spoil
and
it
the
for the
main
audience
guy,
of people.
it was his sworn enemy. He's his son, basically.
Mm.
And they go on quests, and they are looking for, like, the nails that Jesus was on the cross. Remember?
Oh, that was a twist I forgot about.
But
Wow.
he's good at writing.
He is
books.
good writing.
But he has
Oh
a series,
my gosh, the end of Door Within. I was weeping.
I did too.
3 books
I
in,
did.
hundreds of pages, and I'm
Knock,
weeping.
Yulin Brave.
Oh.
Dude, that name in
But
general.
the thing is, he ended that series almost the way like Narnia ends.
Mhm.
It's like a whole heaven scenario and like God and stuff. And it was crazy. I was weeping, man.
I love that. It ends so good, and there's
Yeah.
so many characters that you just fall in love with, like
Yes.
Knock, and
Real
yeah,
cool characters.
that's a good book. But there's another series that he has you never read. It's about it's like Dream, almost like a dream going into dreams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Inception, but more fantasy dream type thing.
Yeah. If you are out there and you have a young child, either in the teens or is going to be a teenager,
Yeah.
or you ever
Wayne-
plan on having kids and you want to, take some free time and scope out what might be good literature for them,
And it's good.
go check out Wayne Thomas's books.
Wayne Thomas
Batson.
Yep.
B-A-T, I think S-O-N.
Or you can just type in the Door Within series.
The
books.
Door Within,
It'll
or
be the
the
first thing,
Isle of
probably.
Swords.
Yeah, probably
That's a
the
good
first
one.
thing that'll pop
If
up.
your kid's a little bit more risque and a little more cutthroat, like me and Joshua, get them into piracy
Yes, sir.
at a young age with a Christian bent. So if you're not a Christian, they're still great series.
They're still great.
Still
They're awesome.
adventurous.
Is there any other books that you just read and were like, oh man, I love that?
Yeah, Dave Ramsey stuff.
He's like an old weird dude.
Dave Ramsey's old, but
Yeah.
not weird.
Okay.
He has grandchildren.
Yeah.
He's not weird. He's smart. He has wisdom.
I'll give that to him.
Speaking of wisdom, Joshua.
Yes, I do have a lot of it.
So I've been diving into Ecclesiastes recently. This isn't. We've been talking a lot about the Bible and stuff on this podcast. I guess it's just because I'm talking about more what I tend to think about in this one. But Ecclesiastes is a lot about like all's vanity. You know what I mean?
Am I vain?
No, but you know.
Do I need to learn a lesson?
I would think you would like this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ooh, you're gonna pull it up and read it?
No, I'm not gonna pull it up. I was just saying I was gonna pull something up, but I'm not gonna anymore. You derailed me. Okay, I think there's an argument to be made from Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
That wisdom is not all that matters in life. Like
no,
being wise.
It's not.
And I think the more you try to put an emphasis on trying to be like, oh, I just need to know, I need to have wisdom, I need to be a wise person, I think it's pretty clear it goes downhill.
That makes me think of a show that I know it's old. I'm pretty sure it's off air. No, it is off air. They don't even play this anymore, but I'm just watching it because I'm catching up with the trend. The Big Bang Theory. Mm-hmm. The main guy, what's his name? The really smart one.
Yeah, I'm thinking. It's on the tip of my tongue. Sheldon,
yes. He's so rude and just unaware of things, but he's the smartest guy in the room, and it's just funny. It's a comedy, so it's supposed to be like that. But
yeah, it's very good.
He's very unaware of social cues in any way.
Definitely on the spectrum, if you know what I mean. But yeah, where were you going with that?
He's very smart, but he's got no social cues in any way.
I wouldn't call what he has as wisdom.
He's got smarts.
He's smart. Yeah. I don't think wisdom's not the same. But I was
just
saying,
I'm comparing that to that.
Yeah, I don't either. But I was just saying, I made a connection. Mm-hmm. Made a connection about the idea of wisdom and the purpose of life, and I think the best balance has to do with what Robin Williams said on the Dead Poet Society that we've mentioned here.
Have you seen Robin Williams has a documentary that they made in 2018 when he died?
You always cut me off.
Sorry. You make me think of things.
No, I didn't see it.
It talks about his whole life. You know, he was in drugs a lot. Mm-hmm. He was into drugs a lot in his life.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's keep going.
But he says in the Dead Poet Society a beautiful quote, and he quotes another poet during that quote, just about like what's the purpose of life almost if you don't try to find that entirely from the Bible. But it's interesting if
cut you off. I'm just about to say, he's got multiple speeches.
Drink some water until he's done.
He's got multiple speeches like this. In Goodwill Hunting, he talks about his wife and saying, yes, you can find a girl and enjoy her presence, but waking up next to her and like falling in love and all that stuff, that's a good speech. You know which one I'm talking about?
No, I need to go look at it.
He talks about his wife, and
I'll just look up wife speech in Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I haven't seen that movie.
And experiencing life in it, he talks about that too.
Oh man, Robin Williams.
He's good at.
I miss him more than I miss Steve Irwin. Miss Steve Irwin a lot too. His son's on the way to be coming in the next one.
His whole family.
No, his sons like him.
You know, his son and his daughter's married to a guy who's very similar to him too. You know?
Yeah, you have to keep up with him. That Irwin blood, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to marry into that.
Why not?
I think it's the animal part. I
Yeah,
think
I
I
mean,
would.
if you
I
don't like
like the
animals-
adventure, but I would be like, animals 24/7, man.
Yeah.
I guess I have an animal around me all the time.
Sorry. My phone.
I have it. I have a little cat.
Yeah, she just licked my foot.
She's here. She's cute.
Are
but-
we?
No, we're not. We're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
We have a few things left unsaid.
What are our unsaid things this time, man?
This time,
Say, spit 'em. I need to learn something.
well, I'm not here to teach you.
Oh, you're not? Then what's
No.
the point of this podcast?
It,
I'm kidding.
let me know if I teach you stuff, because whatever you learn from me, kick it out, because I don't really know anything when it comes down to
You
it.
should listen to me.
I
'cause got
think
knowledge.
that's what.
You should listen to me because I got knowledge.
Don't listen to Joshua. I think as humans, we ultimately just don't know anything. I think so.
Yeah, but it gets back to the language thing. You can learn how to make the noises out of your mouth and make it seem like you're
Communicate
intelligent.
something.
Yeah, it seems like you're intelligent.
Okay, if you want to get down to it,
Do you know something that's weird? That
humans interacting with each other is weird.
it's all
because
an
it's
illusion.
It is an illusion. It's an illusion, for sure.
You know something that's illusion I learned the other day? I learned the Rubik's Cube.
What?
I can solve it.
Nuh-uh.
I swear. But you know how I learned?
How?
I watched a tutorial on YouTube, and it's not real.
What?
I know how to solve the Rubik's Cube, but does that make me smart enough to solve it? No.
Oh, you just pick the pieces off and...
No,
Okay.
I can really solve it. But I'm saying I learned how to do it. It's not like I was knowledgeable to do it.
What do you mean it's not real? What do you mean, Joshua?
No, do you not understand what I'm saying? Listen, I learned the certain algorithms to be able to make these moves to get it solved. But when you think of a Rubik's Cube, if someone can solve it, they're like, oh, that person's
6
smart.
sides, yes.
But if they can actually solve it, but if they just follow the algorithm, the rhythm that they learned from somebody off the YouTube video, they're not really smart enough to solve it.
Oh, so you're saying you don't have smarts because you didn't figure it out yourself?
Yes. It's all an illusion.
Yes. But okay, here's the thing. This is what I think. I think that we really shouldn't be walking around acting like we have authority or knowledge or something, because everything that we know is handed down to us.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more stuff you know, people tell you, you should be proud of yourself, or you should be like, you're better than this other person because you know more stuff. Okay, if I was to get real vulnerable, even today, not nearly as much, but even today, and especially when I was younger, real hard struggle with spelling words. And all people my age are out there freaking in spelling bees, like sending each other text messages that are well written, spelled correctly. All your freaking double T's are in the right place instead of one. Knowing the difference between an E and an E and their wheres, you know what I mean?
And ours.
And R's, yeah. Like knowing knowing all the difference, like the weight and the weight.
I wait for you.
Or you're a real heavy person. Just that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I really struggled with that. But when it comes down to it, I felt like I am less of a person because I'm not good at spelling.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, and I got a little older, learned how to spell a few more words.
A few more.
A few more, one or two. I kind of realized that people just aren't good at certain things.
Yeah.
Everybody's not good at certain things. We all have insecurities about that. Some people are going to be like, oh, you don't know how to spell things? Or you're just going to say that to yourself. Like, I don't know how to spell things. I'm a dummy. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing is, and maybe you'll get some, maybe someone will throw some shade at you. And they'll be like,
yeah, but the thing is,
you don't know how to spell things. Spelling's easy. And like, maybe for you.
It's all an illusion too, because yes, spelling, but what are you spelling? You're spelling English words.
Yeah, you're spelling.
What if someone can't
what
spell?
Someone decided was going to be the written version of what you're making noises
What
about.
if a Spanish person can't spell an English word, but they're here in America?
Yeah.
Are they any smarter? No. Are they any stupider? No. Maybe they are smarter. I don't know.
They could be smarter in some things.
Yes.
I think, okay, this is a big problem I have, and maybe there's a few of those few people that listen to us. I know, not Seth. Seth doesn't fall in this category, but Seth is in the category of like Southern 20-year-old guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people get real judgy about that group of people.
Why?
Because I think society sees them as dumb. Like if you got a Southern accent and you work on cars, have you ever worked on a car?
Have you eaten a taco before? Does that count?
It's not an easy thing.
No, it's not.
Like it's hard to do the simplest stuff, like change a light bulb out of the headlight. It took me an hour and a half just to screw it the right way on my car, trying to replace the headlight bulb.
Here's a story. I know we're derailing, but
we're not derailing. I'm saying
I bought a
people
light
are
bulb.
smart in different ways,
Yes.
and people should not be devalued because it, like you're saying, it's all an illusion. There is no authority just because people have more money. It just means that they found out a way to get more of the numbers game that we have playing around in culture. And it's the same. Like what people know, it just means they got a lot of information about one thing.
That is true.
Or they know a little bit about a bunch of stuff, and that doesn't really matter. Maybe to an extent, information is power.
We should just...
But I'm saying when it comes down to it, everybody, it's good to have information because you can learn things like survival skills that'll keep you alive, how to be a good person for like kids, like realize like what kind of parenting's not effective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's you can work on and become a better person. It's good to have certain information. But if you think that other people are better than you, maybe, I mean, some people need a dose of humility and should not think so highly of themselves. But also, if you think that one person is better than the other person or you're better than someone else because you have more information about a specific thing, it's all an illusion. And it's all fluid and on a spectrum like the PC culture wants us to agree with.
Mm-hmm.
We're all Buddhists.
I agree with what you're saying 100%. And I'm going to throw a little wrench in there.
Okay.
Because I've come to realize there is a certain group of people, and it's some people, some people maybe not better than them, but they've got their life figured out a little better to the point of maybe they're just in a better place.
No, but once you get to a place where you think your life is in a better place, then you just realize it's not better here. And I'm not a better person because I'm paying more money to a company for me to have a specific thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make us better people or more figured out. Sometimes it makes us responsible.
Yeah.
Because you're not having to rely on someone else to give you everything you need.
Yeah. Going back to the light bulb thing really quick before I forget about it. You know, got a light bulb from an auto parts store. I'm like, I'm just going to change it myself. Went out to the parking lot, started to change it. I was out there for like 20 minutes. I'm like, can't figure it out. I walked inside. I'm like, hey, I know you guys help out with small things. Can you just come look? Why can't I get my light bulb on? He walked out. A piece of the old light bulb was still attached, so he just removed it and put the other one on and twisted it.
The little
10
rubber
seconds.
seal.
Yep.
The same thing happened to me. That's why I was out there for an hour and a half trying to stick it on there and twist. And I'm
Yep.
like, why is it not going on?
Yep.
It won't twist correctly. It's not staying in. Exact same thing. Okay. That's probably
Like
a common
brother, like
occurrence.
brother.
That's a common occurrence, I'm sure, with people. If you're going to go replace your headlight on your bulb, you'll see a little probably red or black little seal that's rubber that
he
pushes
doesn't
against the
teach you
car.
anything. He doesn't teach you anything, so don't learn this.
But listen to me, because this might save some time in your life. Just if you take the old bulb out, look for the rubber piece. If it's not on the light you just took off, feel around. Try to see if you can find it to get it off before you try to shove the new one on.
That happened to me.
I wasted an hour and a half of my life doing that.
I wasted about 20 minutes, and then I got enough humility and swallowed my pride, went inside and asked the guy inside.
Somebody who knew.
He came out 10 seconds later. 10 seconds. He pulled it off because he knew what the problem was.
Yep, because everybody has that problem.
And I'm like, oh, man, I feel a little stupid. But then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to just go to work now.
Yeah. It's okay. I did the same thing, except I was probably out there longer than you were.
Yeah, because you weren't going to swallow your pride.
No, and I was at home. I wasn't going to drive somewhere to ask him how to fix it. But I think we've had some productive conversation.
We have. And we did. There was no topic, but there was kind of a topic. Narnia was the topic.
Yeah, we'll say Narnia is the topic on this one.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be in the title. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a comment and maybe even a like. Like this video.
Go to Spotify.
Go to Spotify. You can follow us there.
And we're also on TikTok now, apparently.
You can avoid TikTok. We are patriots here.
Yeah.
We don't support that communistic platform. We just have our videos there to get more views because we're suckers and pushovers.
Yes, sir.
Those crazy communists. Be an American.
Those crazy crack dads.
Just kidding. We love other people that just aren't Americans. We just happen to be in America.
America.
Thank you for watching this. Yeah. Subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. You don't have to follow us on TikTok. It's just to get more views.
Yeah, we're just trying to push people here. Don't worry about it.
But you're already here, so.
Oh, if you have questions for me and Joshua related to film, I guess in just general, we're starting these little videos called Ask Joe and Josh. It might change the title, but that's what it's called right now. And you can email us at wiseworksproduction@gmail.com and we will answer questions for you. So we really encourage you. If you've never commented, even if you have, just take some time and be like, hey, I have a question. And just send it. Like real quick.
Should I grow a mustache or should I not grow a mustache?
I've been wondering, do ladies like mustaches or no? Me and Joshua will answer your questions. We are in the know on this stuff.
This is my answer. Quick answer. A good curly mustache. I don't care if a woman likes it or not, dude. Man.
Never get a curly mustache. Not even if you're a pirate. That was a mistake. Calico Jack. Thank you for watching.
Yep. And we'll join us this Friday for the midnight special.
This Friday.
10 a.m. p.m.
Send us your questions.
PM, not a.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m. Friday night, kick off the weekend.
Did you realize we both have a cut on our hands? It looks like
from
we're cutting
Fiona.
ourselves. That little crazy crack dad, that's licking herself right now.
Ugh.
All right.